Nefarious by DAMEON THORN.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nefarious by DAMEON THORN. I am DAMEON THORN, and today we have Phia. Phia is a virtual influencer and the host of the virtual reality show. She covers topics on her channel from Vtube tutorials, VR tech reviews, and highlights notable VR creators, as well as sharing parts of her personal life. Phia has gained over 100,000 subscribers and has over 100,000 TikTok followers and is at the forefront of VR and the virtual influencer space. Welcome, Phia! Woo!
Hello! Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, this is wild. Okay, so this is actually episode 1. Yay!
Episode 1, let's go! Episode 1 of many.
Of many. Okay, so let's just start with, who is Phia? Who are you? Where are you from?
Yeah, so my name is Phia, and I am a virtual girl that is also a real girl. I'm originally from Missouri, but last summer I moved down here to Jacksonville, Florida, which has been home base ever since. That's where I've got my virtual reality studio where I do all my fun VR stuff and my VTubing. But yeah, I started my VR journey about 2 years ago, and I figured out how to make my own avatar, and I got really attached to it, and I kind of just jumped into the whole VR thing from there. I became kind of obsessed with it and made it my life, which is exactly what I'm doing now.
Yeah, and it's so cool to just watch sort of your process and how you've grown over just this past couple months. I mean, you're saying a year or two, but I mean, just what the space has evolved into, seeing sort of your rise and the way you've also used education and tutorials and kind of helping to really bring this space to the forefront is pretty amazing. Can you just talk about how you kind of got started in VR and what kind of pushed you into this lane?
Yeah, totally. So it's actually a pretty interesting story, because the way that I discovered VR was kind of backwards to how most people kind of have their VR journey.
Hmm.
So what ended up happening is I am totally in love with this Japanese fashion brand called Cloma. They are very important to me. They've been like my favorite for years now. And at some point during 2019, they ended up doing a collaboration with this like avatar creation studio called Vroid, which is what I believe we're both using right
We are
now.
both using Droid.
Yes, which is an incredible program, but they make it super simple and easy for you to go and create a virtual avatar for yourself. And since Cloma did a collaboration with them and had virtual items of clothing, I was like, well, I have this Cloma in real life and now I can wear it on an avatar. That sounds totally awesome, super cool.
Right.
So I made Phia and dove into the whole deep dive of VTubing and stuff. And so I had this funnel that I had made and I was like, okay, cool. I made this now. Like, what do I do with it? And that's how I discovered VR chat. And I was like, oh, okay. So apparently you can play VR chat without VR, and I can use this avatar that I created, and that sounds really fun and cool. So I'm going to try getting into that. And I fell in love with VR chat. I was like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. I had no idea all of these worlds and these communities and these people existed within here. And so within like a week of trying VR chat, I decided I needed to order a VR headset, which was a Rift S. And so it was literally about 2 years ago, probably last November, that I was like, okay, I need VR. And I got it for Christmas Day of
Wow.
2019. So from there, I just became so utterly obsessed and consumed with it because of how freaking awesome it is that I just haven't been able to let it go since.
Wow. And you really have kind of immersed your entire life in
Oh,
VR.
absolutely.
Yeah. What made you feel like, okay, I'm gonna take this and kind of also make it a part of my career now? Because there's
Mm.
one thing of seeing VR users use it in gaming or in a social space like VR chat, but you've taken it to another level. You've taken it to, you know what I'm saying? You've taken it to,
Mhm.
I'm now doing tech reviews. I'm getting flown by HTC. I'm going to New York. I'm doing reviews. There's so much more happening. You're going to be in LA for Alaris's Comic Con panel.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
How do you feel about seeing sort of the progress of you've made in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, it's actually it never ceases to blow my mind actually because I so back when I first started VR, I was still in college. I was in community college actually, and I was doing a whole bunch of credit hours, doing 18 credit hours at two separate universities, and I was working a part-time job and I was doing all these different things, and I was moving on with my life and I had a general idea of what I kind of wanted to do, but I wasn't excited about anything I was doing. I felt pretty stagnant and almost kind of depressed. It was like, well, I'm
Oh,
going to be out of school soon. I'm not going to do anything I really care about. That sucks. And then the moment I found VR, I became completely and utterly obsessed with it. I was like, this is fantastic. This is amazing. This makes me so much more excited and passionate than anything in my entire life ever has before. And I was like, I
wow.
have to make this my life. Like there was no doubt in my mind that I had to make my career VR because it's what I cared about more than anything. And so I was driving to school one day and I sat down with myself while I was in the commute. It was like a 30-minute drive. And I was like, okay, I want to make VR my life. I want to do VR for the rest of my life. However, I don't have any software development experience or game development. I don't know anything about computers or technology. What are the things that I'm good at? And I was like, well, I'm good at talking and I'm good at being enthusiastic. And I was like, well, maybe I can just talk about VR and make other people excited about it. And I'll start a YouTube channel. And I did, and it has literally become my full-time job in my career. And I couldn't be more happy because I literally sat down and I was like, I know what I want and I'm going to make it happen. And I did make it happen. And I think that's something I'm really proud of.
Wow, that is a beautiful story. I just think it's so awesome. This generation in general, I just feel like I talk to so many people and they're like, you know what? I really just don't know what to do with my life. And it's
Yeah,
just so cool that you're able to find it and that you're passionate about it.
totally.
Especially like going through an entire quarantine. So many people have like had time to think and really look at themselves introspectively and recalculate and be like, what am I doing with myself? But you're able to find that. And that is so awesome. Oh, I love
Mhm.
it. I love it.
Yes. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So something I find just in general, whenever I hear podcasts or interviews, is we just
Mhm.
kind of just talk about what the person is doing rather than who the person is. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Mhm.
So can you tell me a little bit about your favorite TV shows that you grew up watching and or that you're watching right now?
Mhm.
Let's get to know Phia a little bit
Yes, let's do
better.
it. Oh, I would love to share some of my inspirations. I think that'd be amazing.
Mhm.
Cool. So as far as TV shows goes, I grew up as a pretty big anime fan. I loved
Oh
watching,
yeah.
Pokemon and Studio Ghibli and all that kind of stuff. But my favorite TV show of all time has got to be Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay.
Absolutely
Yeah.
no doubt in my mind. That is such a beautiful piece of work. And it was so meaningful for me too because it was something that my entire family would sit down and watch together. So
Oh,
my
that's so
parents and my
awesome.
younger siblings, we'd all every single week we'd get the new Netflix CDs or DVDs, I should say, where they used to send out the DVDs in the mail before you could
Oh my
stream.
God.
We'd get the
Yeah.
DVDs sent to our house and we'd pop one in, watch the 4 episodes together, and then couldn't wait for the next one to come. So I have a lot of good memories of just the beauty in Avatar is just absolutely outstanding and way more mature than a kids show should probably ever have the right to
Absolutely.
be.
Are you excited for the Avatar Netflix live action series?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I'm not gonna try and get my hopes up too high
Because
because apparently the creators left the TV show development.
that movie was a little sus, and then yeah, the creators left. And I was just talking to my friend yesterday about like, okay, like what and why, like
Mhm.
why. I wonder what was the differences in the room. Was it like, did they want a bigger budget, or were they taking the story somewhere else? And are we gonna,
Yeah,
like, we don't know why. And so like what is gonna happen? We have like more casting news dropped for it, and so it's
right.
like Daniel Day Kim is going to be in it. So I don't know. I'm excited, but I'm also like, I wonder if they're switching it up storyline wise, or just what was the drama? What was the tea that happened that like made them leave?
Totally.
You know? So I don't know. As far as myself, I'm a huge Airbender fan. So
Heck yeah.
yeah, like my brother and I would watch it constantly.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just I'm wondering. Netflix just bought like everything. They bought like
Yeah, no
almost
kidding.
every like big anime. They bought One Piece. Like, how are they gonna do that? Like,
That's actually insane.
I'm curious to see how they're gonna do One Piece. Anyway, uh, so can you tell me about some of your favorite movies, or were you more of a big TV? Are you a big TV person, or are you a big movie person, or a little bit of both?
I would probably say a little bit of both. I'd say I've always been maybe more interested in movies in general. I think I mentioned that I love Studio Ghibli. I would say those are probably like the top tier level of movies for me.
Got it.
But my favorite movie of all time, and it's one that I watched a million, 100 freaking times when I was a kid, is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the old original with
Okay,
Gene
yeah.
Wilder. I absolutely adore Willy Wonka. For me, I think one of the values that I've always like held the closest to my heart is the idea and power of imagination. I think it is such a
Mm,
beautiful and powerful tool that we as humans have and should use to its maximum potential. And I think it's actually really funny because it like plays along with the whole virtual reality concept so freaking well, where
yeah.
Willy Wonka created this entire imaginative world and then these kids get immersed in it, and there's all these wonders and awes that were never possible in their regular life. And I think virtual reality is quite literally the exact same thing. Is you put on your headset and it's your golden ticket into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory,
Oh
you
my
know?
God. Totally. Okay, so there's been a ton of talk about the metaverse and the news that Facebook put out, and now everybody's jumping on it, and everybody's doing press releases. Just last night, Disney put out their press release that Disney is doing a metaverse.
Right.
How do you feel about it being in this space as an influencer, as somebody who has been following it so strongly and following it on such a micro and macro level? How do you feel about the metaverse becoming something that is on the tips of everybody's tongue on just a basic level? Because for for us just talking previously, like, we're in this space, so we geek out and we get excited about it. But
Right.
now it's like the general public is very aware of what is happening. So
Mhm.
how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I have I have a lot of thoughts and feelings that I could
Yeah.
go on for absolutely ages about, but I'll try and give like a shortened version of kind of my general thoughts. Is that one, I'm very excited. I love the idea of the metaverse. I love the idea of, this whole other level of existence and virtual realm that we get to exist within and experience each other within and experience new environments and worlds. I freaking love that. I'm obsessed with that. However, there is the big but, that who gets to be in charge of the metaverse. And I
Right.
think nobody who's actually in the VR space at this current moment is excited about any of these big companies, especially Meta, taking it and telling us exactly how it's going to be and how we're going to use it and how it's going to affect our lives, basically without the consent of the entire VR community and what they actually think things should be like. Because it's a very sensitive thing as well. I know from what I've talked about with some of my friends is that we all agree that it should be something that's decentralized. It shouldn't be
Right.
controlled by a company. It's this kind of free living space where it should be additive to our own reality that we already have, an enhancement to it, something that anybody can experience in their own exact way. And I think there's a lot of good things that'll come out of all these big companies pushing forward their metaverses. I think there's a lot of really interesting things that'll happen, and I'm excited for that. But I also want to encourage everybody to be extremely almost protective of
Mhm.
how fragile this thing is, because as soon as something goes wrong and it happens in a way that's not beneficial to us or takes away some of our kind of the human aspects of who we are, it gets a little scary. And I just think it's really important for people to be super hyper aware of that so that we can try and guide things in the best direction possible. Because I think we can all agree that big giant mega corporation businesses should probably not have the final say in in any of this
Nope.
stuff, just from what we know about them. So that's my general wrap up of kind of how I'm feeling at this given moment.
When I saw the Facebook's or Meta now, their presentation, their video that they posted, um, being a user in VR chat and Neos, and kind of I looked at it and I was like, do you guys, like, are you aware of like how the community works and what they're excited about? And I just feel like we're not getting that side of it yet, like a user
Mm-mm.
level of people who are already using it. Like it,
Right. We would know better than
we
literally
would, yeah,
anyone. Like we are the VR
we
community.
are.
The VR community exists. You don't have to make it. We already exist.
Right. So it's interesting. It's like we're seeing the conversation about metaverses, but there are already a few VR metaverses that exist. And just watching Meta, it's just so interesting that they just named themselves Meta too. So it's like
Yeah, it's crazy.
it's taking like the term itself and just claiming it. And I don't know, it's just sus. It's just
Made
sus.
me feel really weird. I
Yeah.
was like, I knew they were going to change their name, right? Like they announced that before the whole event, the Connect event. And I had a few ideas of what it possibly could be. Is maybe like Horizons was kind of the biggest one, considering how they've been
Right.
branding some of their stuff. And I was like, okay, well, they're probably just going to call themselves Horizons and whatever. And it's like, it wouldn't have affected me, but you can watch, like I have a video on my YouTube channel of me reacting to the entire event. And the moment that they revealed Meta, like my face fell, like my heart dropped, like I was
Right.
just hit by a truck. I was like, this is crazy. The fact that they chose this word, this name,
Mm.
means so much more than any other thing they could have picked. And there's a lot of weight there that I think people should be taking very seriously.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we just got into that real quick. Basically, I think most of the community is just not for big corporations to
No.
take over, right? Okay, well, as a musician, I wanted to jump into the next question because
Mm.
I love music.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
what are some musicians that you grew up listening to, and what are you currently listening to?
Heck yeah. So my music taste has always been kind of all over the place. As far as growing up, I'm not gonna lie. So I didn't really have the opportunity to listen to a lot of like popular music and stuff like that,
Okay.
just because of the way my parents are. So I grew up listening to a lot of the stuff my dad's like, or my dad really liked, like the Shins is a good example of that. But the
Mhm.
main thing that I would listen to was actually just video game music straight up. I was a big Nintendo kid and I was obsessed with the Legend of Zelda in particular. And I remember having like my Game Boy Advance and I was playing Legend of Zelda Minish Cap. And I loved one of the songs in that game. So I would turn up the volume all the way on my Game Boy and I'd put it in my room while I was doing my cleaning and stuff. And I wouldn't even play the game. I would just leave it on so I could listen to the music because that was before I had YouTube access. So I would say that's probably the most influential for me is just video game soundtracks growing up. And then that's really interesting because that kind of led into my love for one musician in particular. If people know my content very well, they'll know that I am a big, big fan of Porter Robinson.
Mm.
Um, he is absolutely brilliant. He's definitely my favorite musician of all time. And there's just so many things that I've already like even mentioned today that are core to my being that his music directly touches upon, like his album Worlds. It was all about this idea of imagination and creating these beautiful places in your mind that you can explore and visit. And of course, there's a lot of, references to things like Ocarina of Time in his music with the
Mhm.
sounds and stuff like that. And I could go on for hours about how much it means to me, but it's a truly beautiful style of music that he's created that's unlike anything that I think anybody else has ever even dared to try and do. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Have you
that's
had
big.
have you had the opportunity to see Porter yet?
Yes, I have
Oh,
actually. I've seen him
awesome.
3 times now. I saw him in Second Sky 2019, and then Second Sky this year, which is his music festival. And then I also got to see his Nurture Life tour for his new album earlier last month. Actually, I think it was at the end of last month, and that was really really exciting. I've been spending a lot of time with my friends who also love Porter, and we've been bonding together. It's just so cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. I remember back in the day, I think it was maybe like 2011, 2012, and Zed did a Legend of Zelda, but it was dubstep. And
Dude,
that
that's sick.
you remember, I don't know if you remember this, but it was so good. And that's what really got me into sort of that dubstep scene and Skrillex and
Mhm.
everything. But yeah, if you haven't heard, Zed has a Zelda remix like of the theme, and it's very, very good.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I love Zed.
Okay. So we are jumping into the podcast is called Nefarious. So I wanted to ask you, has there ever been a moment in your life where you've done something nefarious? Is there something that sticks out in your mind where you're like, that was a little sus. I don't know why I did that. It still reminds me.
Yeah, actually, I do have something that kind of came to mind right away.
Okay.
And it's actually the reason that I think this story is a pretty good example of me is that I would never do something truly nefarious to ever harm anybody or cause any real trouble. But I do like to stir the pot a little bit. I do get a
Okay.
bit of enjoyment out of
She's
stirring the pot, like
stirring
in
the
a
pot.
harmless way, in a harmless way. And so I think this this example, this little story is a good demonstration of how I might go about doing something like this. So I think it was probably back a few years ago. I don't remember how long ago now, but every single year we always go to my grandmother's house for Thanksgiving. And of course, I go there and unfortunately it gets very, very boring. I have my older cousins who are older than me, and then I have my younger cousins who are younger than me, and I don't have anything in common with anybody. And then I was young enough that the grown-ups had their grown-up conversation. So I was just kind of in this awkward, like, okay, what do I do? Like, I'm just sitting around, I'm
Right.
bored. And so I was like, well, I need to stir the pot a little bit and get some entertainment for myself.
Right.
So I was like, all right, I'm gonna think of something to keep myself entertained. And so what I ended up doing is I got my little cousins, and they were quite young, they were still kids. And I got my cousins and my little sister, and I was like, hey guys, come over here, come over here. And of course, they're like, oh, Sophie's trying to talk to us. And they come up to me and they're like, whoa, what? And I'm like, okay, I want to do a contest. Do you guys want to do a contest? And they're like, yeah, I want to do a contest. Let's do that. And I was like, all right, well, here's the contest. And so we were all in the basement, and all the adults were sitting upstairs. And I was like,
Oh
we're
no.
gonna do a screaming contest.
Oh my God.
So I had them basically take turns screaming at the top of their lungs to determine who had the best and loudest scream out of all the kids.
Oh my
And
God.
of course, they all started screaming, right? Taking turns. It's like, oh yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Well, okay, Sam, let's hear yours. Let's hear your scream. And then he'd scream, and then they all finished screaming. And I was like, okay, like, you know what? You guys were all pretty close. Like, I don't think I can decide a winner, so I think we're gonna have to do it all again.
What?
So I made them basically keep on screaming until finally the adults upstairs are like, what the hell is going on downstairs? And of course, I just laid back and I was like, wasn't me. And so
Oh
I don't
man.
know. I caused a little bit of
Sophia, a little troublemaker.
a little
A
trouble.
little
Not, yeah, I
troublemaker.
haven't done anything that bad, but I dip my toes in a little bit of trouble.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. Okay.
Hmm.
So this is great. We got to know Phia a little bit, got to know some of Phia's interests, Phia's interest in VR, Phia's interest in TV and music. Phia, what's happening with you right now? What is next for you? What's the deal? Spill the tea. What's going on?
Yes. Well, I'm actually in a really, really kind of exciting position right now because I'm on a small little bit of a content break from my YouTube. But what I've
Okay.
been doing is I intentionally decided to set myself up for this little break to kind of reevaluate and re strategize exactly what it is I want and what it is I'm trying to do and how I will get there. So I've been spending a lot of time within the past couple of weeks, basically catching up on all the things I need to do, but then taking time to re-inspire myself with different
Mm.
types of media and books and talking to different people and having really good conversations about VR and the metaverse and all this different stuff. And I actually, as of yesterday, wrote down 14 pages worth of paper with a pen, and came up with my exact plan for the virtual reality show and what I want to do with it and what I'm going to achieve with it, and a
Wow.
timeline of when I'm going to be doing that. So I'm actually going to be switching gears pretty hard from the whole Phia side of the content and trying to really push the virtual reality show, which I have this really large vision for turning it into a whole entertainment network all about immersive media. And
Wow.
I'm using YouTube as my launching point for that to kind of do my proof of concept and show that I'm capable of doing this type of thing. And then hopefully building and growing with that. And I'm really excited for next year because as soon as 2020 hits, we're going full force into the virtual reality show expansion. So
Hell
that's
yeah.
pretty
Hell
crazy stuff
yeah.
on my end, actually.
And also it's just I think creators just need breaks
Yeah.
and it's so important in this last couple of months is just all hearing not just last couple of months, it's been for a while now, but if you're a creator and you are constantly making content, it's hard. It's
Oh, it's
hard.
difficult.
And you definitely, you know, need that you time and to reevaluate and what am I doing? And there's burnout is real. Do
Mhm.
you feel the pressure, especially now that your channel is getting bigger and, you know, companies are flying you out and, you know, delivering their product to you to review? Do you feel the pressure of this side of content creation?
Oh yeah, I know there's definitely a lot of pressure because that's the thing too, is that content creation isn't like a normal job. A normal job, you clock in at 9, you clock out at 5, right? You go and those are your working hours. And when you're done with work, you're done with work. And there's a very clear disconnect between the two. However, as a content creator, my free time and my work time are one and the same. Content creation is a
Right.
24/7, every single day of the week job that you never get a break from, not even for a second. You are constantly in the mindset of having to be a creator. And it is something that not everybody can handle. It is very
Girl, let me
stressful.
tell you.
Yeah, it is not an easy thing, but I really love it more than anything else. And so no matter how high the pressures get or the stakes, for me, it's easy because I just love it.
You
So
love it. That's I think that's advice that we just need to give to everybody. Just try to find something you're passionate in that you love.
mhm.
Look
That
at
matters
us.
more than anything else you could ever do in
Yeah.
your life is doing things that make you happy and excited.
And that's the goal, right? To just be happy and
Mhm.
excited. Well, that was great. Look at us. Look at
Look
us
at us.
in the virtual world having a pop. Yeah, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yes, so definitely check out my YouTube channel. That's where I post the virtual reality show. It's going to be under the channel name of Phia, Phia. You can find me on Twitch. I do streaming and stuff as well. If you want to come hang out with me sometime and chat, that is Phia Bunny, and then same on Instagram. On Twitter is where you can keep up to date with all of my, updates and all that kind of stuff. Just my general life things going on. That is Phia_Bunny. And if you want to join my Discord, we have a whole growing community that is ever evolving and expanding, and it's so much fun to be at. So it's discord.gg/Phia. So I hope you will take some time to come check out what I'm doing. And I promise that there's a lot of cool things coming and I won't let you down.
Amazing. This was so great, Fia. This is so fun talking to you. We'll definitely
Yes.
love to have you back on just to talk about just random
Mm-hmm.
VR news and just whatever the hell is up in pop culture. We're gonna do it again.
Absolutely. It's my favorite stuff to talk about. So you definitely got me here.
Awesome. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's first episode of Nefarious. Yeah, make sure you guys like and subscribe wherever you find your podcasts. Everything will be up in the channel description, and we'll hope to see you guys soon on the next episode. Love ya. Peace. Bye.
Bye.